media covers your story will be built from the ground up. King, dominate. He's the one, the only, motherfucker Jason Lee.
Welcome back to an all-new episode of the Jason Lee Show. My next guest is somebody that is taking the internet ablaze, but before that, she was blazing down the boardroom. Please welcome Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star, but marketing guru, Ms. Bozoma Saint John. Okay, now I said Bozoma Saint John, but Boz, badass Boz for those of you that follow her on Instagram. Bozoma, Afiba, how do I say the next one?
Well, first of all, Bozoma. This is two syllables.
Is it?
Bozoma.
So why does it say Bozoma? So am I saying it wrong?
That. You are saying it wrong.
Do white people say it Bozoma?
They do. But, everybody says it wrong. I give people 3 chances to get it right.
Okay, so it's Bozoma. I've heard people say Bozoma, but I thought they just couldn't spell. Because, for some people, literacy is a problem.
Literacy is a problem, okay?
Right.
The reading level.
So it's Bozoma.
Bozoma, because the second O is silent.
But why is the O there then?
Be silent. I don't know.
It's like Beyonce.
Ask the people who have a G in their name and don't say nothing about
it.
Okay,
Bozoma. Afiba.
Afiba, that's good.
Okay. Mamikai.
Mamikai. No, try one more time.
Mama say, mama say.
Mama say, Mama say.
That ain't no
I
CH
know,
there.
but that's the trick of it.
See, the problem with black folks, y'all be like, my publicist's name is Pristina. No, ain't no Pristina. It's Christina. Now she's a Pristina.
That's correct.
Okay, so one more time.
Mamichi
Saint John.
That's correct.
Okay.
Good job.
So we look good today, fresh off of a plane from New York City. This is airing a little later, but we were just in New York City. You were gallivanting through the streets, playing Blueprint and Hard Knock Life and all the things at the Jay-Z's of it all concert.
Yes.
And I was at my hotel because I was watching the concert. Day 3 that you were at what time it started? 3 a.m.?
Look, 12:17 to be exact.
Really?
In the morning. Yes. It was supposed to start at 9 o'clock.
But what happened?
Because the black people bum rushed the door.
Right.
And caused all kind of security breaches. So Jay-Z was like, we're not coming on this stage until they lock down the doors.
Well, and I love that Jay was concerned about the safety of all, but Tyler Perry flew from like Germany or Spain for the show and had to get back on his plane and left out before it started because he didn't know what was going on.
Damn.
But night 1 and 2, people were saying like, it's uncles and aunties out here because he brought out the people. Was it a diverse age group or was it more older?
No, I think it was older for sure. But, there was a lot of energy in the room. Mm-hmm. So it's still like hype, but I don't know if it was hype because I was there. Although I have to say this. What? So my daughter is 17 years old. Mm-hmm. And she is a very privileged child, who has traveled with me lots of places. And I just booked the ticket and I know she's gonna come. So we had a heart-to-heart the other day. And she was like, look, we need boundaries, okay? You just like to buy a ticket and then you expect me to come with you, but I've got things going on too. I was like, who complains about being flued out? You know what I'm saying? But okay, fine, I respect your boundaries. So I didn't take her to New York.
You didn't take her to the concert?
No, I sure did not. And so then this morning, she wanted to talk about, I'm dying of jealousy. I'm like, yeah, that's what you get.
Well, I honored your request.
I sure did. So I think that even though the aunties and uncles were the ones who could afford the tickets who were inside of the stadium, everybody else in the culture respects.
But this was also like one of the few nights you see Beyonce and Rihanna on the same stage.
Yeah,
too.
and when was the last time you heard Rihanna on a mic?
Well, the other day when I went grocery shopping with her, but she wasn't on a mic. She was just singing "Spin That." She was singing "Spin That."
That's a flex. We not in the same
the
same conversation.
But
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved her on stage. I loved how she looked.
Yeah,
I loved everything.
Yeah.
I loved everybody who made an appearance. I was out here living my best life.
Yeah. Well, I was supposed to go with her to the concert, but I ended up at some culture summit thing in Brooklyn and missed the ride and didn't go. But I'm glad, because I would have missed my flight because it started so late.
I thought you were going to be doing something more salacious.
No. As the vice mayor in these streets with these cameras, hell no.
I don't know what you were doing.
Wait, so what was it? Was it euphoric to hear the music see all the because that's like black culture at its
Well, this is why I love us so much, because every time the announcer would come on to be like, we're trying to work out the security and make sure everybody's safe, everybody would start booing.
Really?
Black people, boo! I'm like, just let the people do their job.
Yeah.
But then as soon as Jay hit the stage and he said, are y'all ready? And everybody started cheering and they were live again. By that time, people were a little bit tipsy also.
Yeah.
So, because we had nothing else to do but to get a little light.
But what I thought was funny was not only were they booing, but y'all also didn't leave. But everybody became a reporter.
Oh,
there were like
absolutely.
so many live reports. I'm reporting live from the Jay-Z concert outside the door.
Wait, I saw somebody do like their Netflix documentary. I saw that. They were like, Netflix documentary on how I survived the late start of Jay-Z's concert. I said, now, y'all are too fast.
Yeah. But if there's any question or any doubt, Jay-Z's the GOAT.
Oh, absolutely the GOAT.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I first came to know, well, first of all, I came to know you just from a distance, watching you just when you go and do public speaking and you're in a room full of white folks and you are black.
Very.
When I tell you are pro-black, but you talking to these white folks in a way that they can consume it, but it's also hitting that vein of, she ain't talking about me, but we talking about you.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
But that's the way I feel like we should all be. You know what I mean? Like you show up as your full self.
Right.
And people just need to consume that because like, why else are we there?
Yeah, but they want us, but they don't want us to really go there. That's how I feel. Like I'll show up in some meetings and I'm always talking about closing the gap for black folks in terms of wealth. I talk about, black owned versus black targeted because there's some companies that are white owned but black targeted and they get all the brand dollars, as you know.
Yes, I sure know.
They don't want to have these conversations.
So well. Yes.
So where does the courage come from? So let's go back. Where did you start in getting this courage? And then how did you decide the industry that you went into as the industry you wanted to dominate?
This is a long story. Okay, I'm going to try to cut it down.
Okay.
So I was born in the U.S., but my parents are originally from Ghana in West Africa. And we traveled around a lot when I was a kid, moved to lots of different countries, but finally settled in Colorado Springs, Colorado when I was 12. At 12, I don't know what you were like at 12, but I was not this. You know what I'm saying? I was very tall, but, just a little gangly and, just a little out of sorts. Like, it wasn't like I was a cool kid or anything like that. And on top of it being very black, very African, and in Colorado Springs, which is not that at all.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, there was no other African families. And there was only one other black girl in my class.
Wow.
And one black boy. You know what I mean? And my mom was completely unapologetic. Like when people say unapologetic, I think they throw that word around like it's cool and fashionable, but I don't even understand what it actually takes to be unapologetic.
It takes like a mighty amount of courage.
Courage.
Yes.
Courage. Because at that time, I just want to set the scene. Like we had Sally Struthers and UNICEF on TV telling people that African children were worth 1 cent a day. They had cards on their refrigerators. And I would go over to my friend's house and it would say, feed a small African child for 1 cent.
See, you and I are the same age because I was doing my research and that was around the time when I got introduced to Africa. It was the kids on the news with the flies in their eyes.
The flies on the eyes.
It was like, please send us some money. We need porridge.
Give me. And so that's what I walked into. People looked at me and saw that. And my mother was like, absolutely not. So was my dad, by the way.
Right.
Like both of them were very strongly pro-African, very black, but also they were like, hey, look, we're global citizens. Like they didn't have any anger or challenge to whiteness. They were just like, hey, we're here too.
But now they come from Ghana.
Yes.
And so their anchor was in the motherland.
Yes, that's right.
So when they came here, they had an image, the image that we all know now that we've gotten past the UNICEF days of looking at the richest continent in the world.
Yeah.
Now they were anchored in what we come from.
Yes.
And then but you were introduced to what perception people had of where we came from.
Exactly, which was very confusing to me. Now, also, I give my parents a lot of credit because there are many immigrants who come to the U.S. and want to assimilate, right? It's the easiest thing to do. You don't speak your language, you don't eat your food, you change your name, like all the things. But my parents were like, no, you're going to have your name. We're going to eat our food. You're going to speak our language. Like, we're going to do all of the things. And we're also going to love America. Like, you can be dual. You can do all of the things. And so for me, it's never been a choice of like, am I this or am I that? I'm just all of it. And so, like, when my little white friends would come over, my mom wasn't about to order no pizza or nuggets.
What was mom cooking them?
What? These little white children were eating pepper soup and crying. And they had, like, their pink cheeks got all crazy. Like, they weren't, she wasn't taking it easy on anybody.
Right.
And for me, it's like, I think that's part of where the fullness of myself comes from, because they didn't shrink. In the face of lots of people who thought they were lesser than, in front of a lot of people who thought that, like, oh, you poor thing. Like, we have blessed you by you being here. And they were like, no, we're actually contributing to this culture.
But obviously with the assimilation, how did you and your parents maintain that deep connection to your roots and your heritage?
Well, I think because we
tradition.
Yeah, tradition. We respect it. Like there was never a feeling, at least in my house, that our Ghanaianness, our Africanness was something to be ashamed of or to be hidden. You know, and so it's like holidays or celebrations were still very African. You know, they just happened to be here in the U.S. And so, but we also celebrated the 4th of July. And we also celebrated Thanksgiving.
But then a few years ago, Ghana, I had met the president. He's not the president no more. I know
Nana Akufo-Addo.
I don't know what went over there. I don't know. You know, they had the whole year of the return.
Yes, I wrote the marketing strategy for that.
Did you go?
I wrote the marketing strategy for the year of return.
Of course you did.
What are we talking about?
Of course you did. I should have been in that. I wanted to go.
Yeah,
I wanted to
you should have
return.
been.
I heard they did the whole visit where the slave experience happened. How important was it to make sure that Black Americans, because I will say, even up until that time, I didn't know how beautiful Ghana was.
Yeah,
like I learned through going to some events in DC and meeting with the president and learning.
Yeah.
What took us so long to figure it out?
Well, okay, so now this is a crazy story. Okay, so I met the former president in his first year in office. Now the terms are set up like the U.S. terms. So 4 years, you do 2 terms and you're out. Unlike Donald Trump, who wants to stay forever, but that's a whole nother topic. But in any case, so it was his first year in office, and we happened to be receiving an award at the same event during the United Nations General Assembly in New York City. So I was getting an award for my contributions to business, and he was getting an award on behalf of the people of Ghana. And I decided to get up and give my entire acceptance speech in our native tongue, like in a room full of United Nations diplomats and world leaders.
But did he know you were from Ghana at the time?
He didn't.
Okay, so he learned through the speech.
Correct. So I got up there, and literally my first utterance, I didn't even introduce myself in English. I didn't say not one word in English. So I come off the stage, and his chief of staff is like, so I get myself over the table, and he was like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, well. So anyway, very long story short, he invited me to come back to Ghana to have a meeting with him, and that's when he told me about his plan about 2019. So this was 2017, and he said 2019 would mark 400 years since the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade, and he wanted to mark it as the year of return to invite all Black people in the diaspora to come back home. And he said, well, you've done a great job marketing for all of these big companies. He was like, you should do the marketing for the year of return.
But at that point, you're Bose, you are established, and it's a government. Do you when you get that budget, how do you decide what to charge?
No, dude, let me tell you. First of all, can I just...
If you say you did it for free, we got to...
I did.
I
did, pro bono.
Nah, Bose. See, I felt you was going to say that.
Yeah, pro bono.
Why?
Well, there's a number of reasons. One, by the way, in the United States of America, I've also done work for the government pro bono. Okay. I don't want to get paid for this work because I never want to be tied to the political system in any way. See, look at it. You're not even listening no more.
Whoa. Wait, what?
No, I don't want to be paid for the work.
Okay, please. Okay, don't say.
Because I get paid in other ways.
Relationships and all that.
Yeah, of course.
No,
I
get that.
But I don't want to be paid for it because I also don't want any association that's going to make me feel like I am indebted to anyone. It's like if I decide to change my political affiliation, then I decide to do that.
Right.
I don't want anybody to say they own any part of me.
Right.
So I was like, look, I will do this out of my heart.
So you marketed an entire nation from your heart.
That's right.
Don't give me a master class in that because I have a heart, Bose, but I also have a bank account.
Look,
I can't.
But here's the thing is that, and this is really the truth of it, is that I really did it for the 12-year-old me.
Okay.
I really did. Like, as we were talking, and I won't pretend like I was like some sort of like big hero came to the meeting like, I could do this.
Right.
Like, I was looking at him like, you're crazy. I was like, I know how to like sell soda. I know how to sell a phone. I know how to sell like a rideshare service. How do you sell a country? And also, I want to be honest, I was traumatized from those years of like people looking at me like I was unworthy.
Because of what they thought.
Yes.
And so then for you, it was, let me do this work in service to my country.
Yeah.
So that way
but in service to me.
Yes, okay.
In service to me. I like those years I was called the African booty scratcher. I wanted those people to understand where I came from. I want them to understand that like they didn't need to feel sorry for me or that I was lesser than them.
Boz, now you know there's people watching that don't know what the hell African booty scratch is, but you just aged both of us.
That's what they used to call us.
You just aged.
That's fair. That's what it is.
So yeah, you said a soda, a rideshare, all that because you were over Pepsi, Uber, and Netflix.
And Apple. Don't forget Apple.
And Apple. How do you go into those white spaces as black, pro-black as you are, and not get fired?
Well, how do I answer that?
Because you're in conversations with people who don't look like us, and they're talking like you're not in the room maybe sometimes because they're talking about a community or a culture or a, you know.
Oh, yeah,
they're talking to the girl from Ghana.
Now, Jason, let me tell you something. There are some people who have been in those rooms who look like us, who then get very quiet in those rooms. And they don't make it just because like they don't have any backbone. There's no differentiator between them and the next guy. So if you come into the room and you look like this, you have the knowledge you do, you have the experiences you do, and you don't contribute that to the room, then you can be replaced by anybody.
And so what then gives you the courage to stand in your blackness and fight the way that we need somebody to fight?
Well, first of all, I have a lot of theories about this, but some of it is like spiritual and ancestral. You know, I do believe the fact that like, look, I've come with an army that has never been represented in those rooms, that were not considered in the decisions that are made. And so I'm like, look, I'm doing it for myself, but I'm also doing it for a lot of people who don't have access to these rooms. And so it's like, if we're looking at a piece of creative or we're developing Apple Music and we're talking about the culture, it's like these decisions are not easy ones to make. Like when I presented at the Apple keynote, you know, which I was the first Black person to step on the stage that Steve Jobs built. And I was presenting Apple Music, which, by the way, little known fact, it failed the year before. We were on our last legs.
Really?
Like, yeah, Tim Cook was like, hey, look, y'all got one more shot at this thing.
So what were you able to do to turn around?
Well, here, I want to get to this part first, which is the choices that you have to make as a Black person and representing yourself. So I get on the stage, and by the way, the stage is live. Like whatever you're doing on the phone to present is happening on that big ass screen behind you. You know, so when people are showing off the new features of the iPhone or the new dynamics of some app, it's live. There's nobody there to save you. And so I'm over there and I'm trying to explain what Apple Music is. For the first time, like people don't understand how to stream. It was the beginning of all of this thought. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to choose music that is not about reaching the masses, but it's gonna be my music, the music that made sense to me. That was an intentional choice and a dangerous one because I'm looking at a room, thousands of Apple fanboys who are all white, all wearing sweats, like none of them knew what I was talking about. I played Rapper's Delight. I played a song by my little niece, you know, who's like trying to come out in the music business at the time. And I played a song from Ghana, which didn't even have a category. Afrobeats was not a category yet on any mini streaming service or like buying service. It was just called world music. Everybody else in the world, it was just all dumped together.
What was the reaction?
Oh, well, first of all, I asked them to rap along with me to Rapper's Delight.
But did they know it?
They didn't know.
Of course they didn't.
And they were offbeat. And I called them out on stage. It was like one of those moments where people are like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. And I'm like, no, but this is what it means. Like, if you are really going to represent who we are, and you think that like you can do it in the boardroom when it's closed doors and people are looking at you in your face and you know that they want to call you a name, that is harder to do than being on stage. And so if you don't do it on stage, then I guarantee you're not doing it behind.
But in doing it that way too, I mean, Apple, all these brands we're talking about are bold brands. So it's like for
but they're not Black.
No, they're not Black. But for you to step in and be bold for a brand that is groundbreaking, that don't
mean nothing.
No. They don't care?
They don't. No. Yes, boldness, but boldness in a white way.
Right.
Boldness in a way that's like, you know.
Safe.
Yeah, like crazy white boys jumping off a roof. You know, it's not like, and I'm talking specifically to like Mountain Dew when I worked on that brand, right? Where it's like, that was the image, like the, you know, snowboarder who, and look, I did work on the movie, which was called First Descent, featuring Shaun White and all these other like extreme sports athletes. But then it was like, okay, look, the business is decreasing. What are we gonna do? I'm like, okay, well, we need to go get the Black boys. You know, and they're playing street ball.
So one brand that you work with that is the only brand I've ever had a real hard time with is Pepsi.
Oh,
and,
yeah?
And I met this one girl. She's a black girl, and she's a big fan of mine and a supporter of Hollywood Unlocked and all things. So she brought me in to the Pepsi world. Like, we need you.
Yeah.
We need your distribution. We need your audience. And so when I got on the phone with the CMO at the time, who's not there anymore. So
I wonder who that is.
His name is Todd. Anyway.
Okay. Oh, Todd Kaplan. I know exactly who that is.
See, I wasn't going to say his last name.
Oh,
but that's
my bad.
No, that's
Oops.
fine. Yes. So when I get on the phone, because I met him in Cannes,
Okay,
you know, and
yeah.
we on the boat and everybody's drinking.
Yeah,
and,
rosé.
It's
flowing.
You were just there.
Yeah, look.
So, deals are they're conceptually getting done. Then we got on the call and it was like, okay, and he was telling me the culture. And I said, can you just tell me, what is the culture to you? And he wasn't ready for that question. And he was a little taken aback that I challenged his thought. And he said, let's schedule another call. And I said, well, look, the culture. And I explained to him that it's not a thing you just go and take out of a shelf. It's something that it's the vein of everything moving in the world.
Yes.
So I was explaining to him the next call I got on, it was all the black people there.
You know what? Goodbye.
And I said to him, and I let them introduce this from the culture department, and I said, I'm offended that you went and brought all the blacks on the call.
He said the culture department. I am done.
Multicultural, but that's
I know.
But even
that
is
the code words.
Yeah,
I'm well aware of that.
But he wanted them to explain to me the answer that he couldn't give me, and I called him out for it. And I said, I'm offended that you brought all the blacks on the call because now you're handling
I'm proud of
me.
you for saying that.
Had to, didn't get a deal done with him, but I felt good about it.
Look, but that's the sacrifice that most people are not willing to make.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. That I can walk into a room, you can walk into a room, and we are unapologetic in what we bring. And sometimes that means you don't get the deal.
Right.
Sometimes that means you don't get the job.
Right.
So that means you're fired.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But for us, there's a difference in being able to do that and also sleep at night.
Right.
And feel confident in ourselves. And that's what I've been living with.
So you've had that experience, I'm sure.
Yes. Do you know how many times I've been called names?
Like what?
Every kind of name.
No.
All the names.
No.
Every name.
No way.
Yep, that's true.
Behind the scenes or in your face?
And in front of my face.
From the brands?
What?
No way. Wait, so are you ready for your Netflix moment? You know how they're doing the whole movement now where they're playing the music and you sit down in your chair? You should have been there.
I should have.
Wait, so when you're working for these Fortune 500 brands and they say that to you, or they never call you. They never called you. Really? When they say that, what is that experience like for you?
I showed them what a does.
You didn't.
Look, if you're gonna call me that, you about to find out today. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, look, I actually have never been afraid to be this.
And you've never been afraid to lose your job?
No, I haven't. Because this how you gonna get you gonna make me say the thing? Because you know what? Because I know I'm better than everybody. I know I'm smarter.
Give it up for that.
No,
because
I know.
Confidence ain't taught to black people.
No, it's not.
And confidence in schools ain't taught to black girls, taught to black boys.
Look, I'm gonna run around this room. Where's my handkerchief?
It's true.
You know what I'm saying?
It's true. People
true.
don't give you or teach you the confidence. So let's go all the way back to when you're 12 years old in Denver, Colorado, and there's this perception of who you are based on what they know. And then now you're in the boardroom having gone through all that, all the education, all the experience, and now you earn your seat. Yes. And now you're at the table until you still not good enough.
Wait, hold on. I just thought of something.
What?
So actually, my sister literally just sent me this. She took a picture of the 8th grade yearbook. Okay, I'd been in the U.S. 1 year. And in the yearbook, of course, they want to profile the strange Africans who had just appeared. And so the column said, and I totally forgot about this until she sent it to me. It said something like the Stars and Stripes. And then the first sentence in the article says, out of the wild jungles of Africa.
About you?
About me, yes, about us coming to the U.S. Now, I would say 3 sentences down, it says, Bozoma Arthur, my maiden name, is unafraid to point out that Africa is not as untamed as you think. So I've been doing this since then.
Right.
This is not new to me. This confidence that you see isn't something that I had to figure out. No, it's I walk into rooms and I know I'm better. I know where I'm coming from. I know what I have. And so it's I'm not afraid to be fired because I know I'm gonna get the next job.
And it's not an ego thing.
No, but by the way,
but they teach us that confidence. They teach us in the way they treat us that ego, that confidence is some level of inflated ego or something.
Yes, of course. And they'll call you every name in the book for it. People still call me too arrogant that I think so much of myself. There was a conversation just the other day, with
nobody's listening.
With a brand who, was thinking about utilizing me for, brand promotion or whatnot. And their CMO said, no, absolutely not. She thinks too highly of herself.
They said it to your face?
They sure did. I said, oh, yeah? Well, what makes you say that? and what would you like me to think of myself? You're like, oh, well, that's not really in our brand persona. We're a little more humble.
So when you're in situations like that, and for young girls who are watching young Black girls, like, what is your advice to them on how to handle a situation like that, or to navigate? There's some young girl just got out of Spelman. Now she's at her first job, and she's met with that.
Yes. Okay. Well, the first rule is, obviously, and I'm going to say it. It sounds obvious, but we don't act on it, which is that you can never accept that laying down. You cannot be quiet when that comes to you. You can't say it and then go home and cry. I need you to act in the real emotion in the moment, because that's what they expect you to do, to swallow it, to go home, to bury it and come back the next day and, oh, I'm gonna do better because they think this way of me. No, I need them to see your anger. It's like we get afraid of like showing the full wrath of who we are and the experiences that we bring. You're gonna see every bit of that. And sometimes that comes out in my tears, which I'm not afraid to shed. Sometimes it comes out in the pitch of my voice, which can get very high. And sometimes that just comes out in the action of what I'm saying and the passion with which I deliver it. And the thing is that, like, look, until they see that, they won't respect you. Because guess what? Next time you try to say something to your face, they know what they're going to get.
Right.
And if they decide that, like, oh, look, this person is too emotional or, we don't want them here, then guess what? You were never going to succeed there anyway.
Right.
They were never going to get you shit no way.
And
so you might as well go.
And what's for you is for you.
Yeah.
And if that moment is that teachable lesson, that may become the springboard for you to go on to something greater.
Absolutely. Because my firm belief is that any environment you're in which you cannot be your full self, will not allow you to blossom into the fullness of your greatness. It just won't.
Have you ever been fired from any of these companies?
No.
Never. So you quit and move on. Do you quit because you're no longer aligned with their values, or like when you're at Uber? Why leave Uber? I heard Uber is a great place to be.
No, it was a crazy time when I was there, though.
That was before it went public?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was right at so Travis Kalanick, who founded Uber, is the one who hired me.
Okay.
And 2 weeks after I started my job, the board decided to let him go, or they parted ways. And then it became Lord of the Flies in there. It was like everybody was fighting each other. Everybody was struggling for power.
They said it was a mess.
Oh, man. I was a chief brand officer and the only Black person in the room.
When they were going through they had some big discrimination stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but were you in there helping them navigate through that?
Yes, I was. And it was a very difficult time because here I am like, okay, look, I am the Black person in this company, And at the same time, you're facing all of this backlash, and I'm trying to help navigate those with people who aren't always trying to listen to what I have to say. And I'm looking at you like, but I'm the one who knows. Like, how dare you challenge what I'm trying to say in order to fix this by telling me that I don't know?
Right.
How's that possible? So at the end of the day, yes, in some cases, I'm like, I'm just reading the tea leaves. I'm like, oh, you know what? This is not going to be successful. Like, it's not gonna be a good long-term solution. So I find the exit.
But how do we as Black people, Black media, get brands like Pepsi or Netflix to like understand there's value in spending their marketing dollars with our platforms? Because we're all trying to figure it out.
It's a loaded question. But now you're gonna make me say more things. Because the responsibility we've sort of shunned towards the brands and said, oh, they don't understand us. But the challenge is that we don't quantify our power enough. We're not bold enough in representing who we are and the power that we have. We'll say it quietly. We try to pretend like, oh, well, we have this amount of, power, or we have this amount of influence, or da-da-da. No, I need you to say it with your full chest. Because guess what? The other media companies who step into the room, they say that. They make you think that they've got the entire world wrapped around their finger. Yet here we are, the culture, who are actually leading all of the conversations, who are leading the trends, who are leading the viewership,
But getting no money.
Getting no money because we're not bold enough in it.
But but I feel like we've been bold enough, but how do we do it?
Maybe you.
Maybe not. Well, we don't operate as a collective, so there's that. I told y'all. We need to
operate as a collective.
Right.
Everybody needs to come to the table. Why are we fighting each other like crabs in the barrel? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like everybody wants to have a little piece, and we start fighting each other. Oh, well, we do better in Essence. We do better in this company. We do better in that company. Why? It's like, no, we're all here collectively saying we have the power in this place with these people who are leading the entire culture. So give us the money.
But does a Pepsi look at the culture like, okay, if we give all this money to Beyonce, all the black media is gonna organically just write about her? Or do they look at like if we have Tyler Perry and all his slate at Netflix?
Yeah.
The black audience is going to come anyway.
Yeah, there's an assumption that if they get a black artist, that the black people will follow them.
Do the black artists have a responsibility at the tables to say, you need to be marketing to these people?
They do. I think the responsibility lies in a lot of places.
Right.
And that's when sometimes people get mad at me when I say that, because they just want to blame the company. And I'm like, the company doesn't care about you. The company cares about dollars and cents, okay? And so if you show up to the table and you're like, hey, look, this is what we're bringing and this is the power of what we have and this is how you're going to make money, they will give you the money. But we don't say that loudly enough. We don't say that confidently enough. We say it quietly because we're supposed to be humble.
But let's use Target as an example.
Ooh, child. Now here he go.
Because you look at Target, there's so many layers. So you have the women who start the movement.
Yes.
Then you have Pastor Jamal Bryant enter the conversation. Then you have a disconnect between those groups.
Yes.
Then you have Target seemingly make a settlement with the pastor who didn't start the movement.
Right, yeah.
And now it's just a mess. What would you have done if you would have said, here, let me take over?
Well, this is part of the, on which side, the Target side or the?
Let's start with our side.
Our side. Again, divided we fall.
Yeah.
So that's the first problem, is that like there should be no one who is breaking the ranks. Like we should not do that. We should all agree that we're moving in this direction and that we're going to stay in that direction until there's a course correction. Because it's not as if these companies don't approach various angles of us. They're approaching this person to do a deal and that person to do a deal and this person to do a deal. One person cracks and the whole thing goes down.
So they said Jay-Z cracked.
Well, I don't know if that's true now.
Well, okay? I've been trying to follow and understand what is this Target partnership.
No, because the thing is that, like, look, distribution is distribution also. So it's not as if sometimes you're making a choice. Although you can, decide that like, hey, look, I'm not going to go in this channel. But if your distribution is to the world, then yeah, Target gets a piece, but it's not exclusive. So I think the misconception was that it's an exclusive partnership with Target, which is not.
But if you were on Target's side, what would you have said? How would you have approached the whole fallout?
I've had okay. So here's the thing.
You talked to Target.
Well, I mean...
You went to them.
Sometimes
you went to them and said, "Let me help you."
Now I didn't say I went to them and said all this.
You went to them and said, "Let me help you," and they said no, or we got it.
Well, no, I didn't. I never. By the way, I never say, "Hey, look, I'm here to help you."
Okay.
I'm just like, here are my opinions.
Okay.
Because obviously I'm a thought leader in a lot of these spaces, and I like to be able to, give my opinion freely at times. Okay. And my feeling is that, like, look, there should be some like resolution. Because the problem isn't that, they got rid of all of their diversity and inclusion efforts. They haven't. They're still the same. They're the same as they were a decade ago. So I don't know where that misconception came from. But the challenge is that, like, hey, look, there's clearly a backlash against the actions that you're taking. So then you actually do need to sit down with the people who are saying, like, hey, look, here's a problem, and come up with solutions that are going to help move that community forward. So I'm like, if we're looking at the, black and brown entrepreneurs who are on the shelves, I'm like, where's the program to help elevate them? Where's the program to help accelerate them? Because then that comes back to us. But unless you're saying that out loud with your full chest, it might be a program that's already been in the works, but nobody's saying that out loud. I'm like, say it out loud.
Would you have stepped in to help them fix it?
I would need a very big check.
Of course. And because
now that I won't do for free.
Right.
That I won't do for free.
Okay, because I was going to say, if your heart is that big.
No. That you don't do for free.
I don't know the heart of Bank of a Heart. or a Wells Hart or a Chase Hart.
Oh my God.
Okay, so now you go over to Housewives of Beverly Hills. I see you go over there to Beverly Hills.
To Beverly
Hills had Garcelle.
Yes.
And Garcelle is black, and she black. She pro-black.
Yeah.
But you going in there, I was a little nervous at how they were going to be able to handle it because Lisa Rinna seems cool. So who are you cool with? Are you cool with everybody?
I'm cool with everybody.
So you get along with everybody?
Yeah, I really do.
Okay.
Well, because also, look, I have a long history in corporate spaces where I've had to navigate all kinds of different personalities.
Right.
So I can see people for exactly who they are almost immediately.
But Erica Jane, she tried you.
No, she didn't try me.
Didn't she try you?
No.
I thought I saw there was something where, who was the one lady? No, wait, was that Dorit?
No, it was probably Amanda in this past season.
Yeah, somebody was trying.
She's the only person who's tried me.
But you gathered her.
She found out. Yeah.
Did you use her as an example?
No, I never do that.
Because I will use one person example and then kind of look around
is
the
it
table.
to see who paid attention to it? No. You know what? I think that what had happened was, I think this particular woman came in thinking we were the same. You know, because she saw me and said, oh, there's a business person. And the rest of the ladies are, married to rich men, and that's how they came about their money. And so she looked at us and said, oh, we're the same. Now, I'm not ever trying to flex on anybody, okay? I really am not.
But you said since 12 you were telling people you were better than them.
Well, it's true. That's also true. So there's a little bit of a contradiction. However...
So did you look at her like, look mediocre, stop it?
No, it wasn't until she started talking like a mediocre person that I started reacting that way.
Got it.
Now, I would have had no problem if she didn't, come at me as if she was going to school me.
Yeah.
Look, it's don't start no shit, won't be no shit.
Right.
That's my theory.
Right.
And so it's I wasn't about to start anything until I felt like she started. And I was like, oh, okay. You're going to learn today.
Why'd you let all those white women run Garcelle away?
How'd I do that?
Because y'all supposed to start a black union. The Real Housewives Black Union.
Nene Leaks, how I get in it? I don't know how I got in it.
Why did Garcelle leave? I feel like we saw her take her man down when he cheated on her with the agency. She sent the email to everybody. Garcelle's no punk.
No, she's not.
But did she leave before she went to jail? Because she was like, let me get up out of here.
Maybe. No, I honestly, now look, I haven't talked to Garcelle, so I don't know what the truth is. But I believe it was fundamentally the breakdown of her friendship with Sutton. I think that's what happened. I think it hurt her so much,
that she gave the bag back?
I mean, maybe she was tired. This is an exhausting place to be. It really is.
Is it?
Yeah, because you're giving everything. You're telling everything. Then people on the internet have opinions about you, and sometimes it's not true. So you're fighting on all surfaces. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it does feel like the housewives are their own little sorority. So if you're on the inner circle, and then you get betrayed by somebody in the inner circle, that shit hurts harder.
Right.
I think than strangers on the internet.
Why does Erica Jane seem always mad? I mean, I like Erica.
She's been through it.
Yes.
She's been through it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'd be mad too. If I married somebody and they would treat me all kind of nice, and when she met him, I think she was like a waitress.
Right.
And so it was like a big come up. And she was with him a long time.
Right.
And was, just in the marriage. And then all of a sudden now you find out the man is lying and cheating and going to jail. And now you dragged in it and being sued by people.
Right.
I'd be pissed off too.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it seems like she always wants to beat up Kyle's sister. What's that girl's name?
Oh, I don't know nothing about her.
You know what I'm talking about? Kim.
Not Kathy.
Kim.
Yeah,
no,
Kim.
Nobody will touch Kathy Hilton.
No. Oh, I have a fun story about
what?
This necklace.
Tell me. Did she give it to you?
She
gave it at the award show?
Yes!
Hold on. So somebody said, and I'm assuming those are real diamonds.
Look.
Wait, Kathy.
Nobody come to my house for this.
Wait. We're gonna get into that because I was hearing rumors about this.
I know it was a big.
But I was like, Kathy Hilton. Okay, Kathy, we're gonna get back to you because she followed me on Instagram. We haven't kikied yet, but I like her. She's a fun time.
She's amazing.
Okay.
Not just because she gave me this very heavy
Bose
necklace.
was honored at the Impact Awards, which we're going to get into that speech that left everybody speechless. Okay,
Oh.
so let's back up.
Okay.
So Kim,
Yes.
you don't shoot with Kim?
I don't know her. No.
Okay, so you don't
No,
know
I
her.
don't know her,
Okay.
no.
Kyle, do you like Kyle?
Yes, I like Kyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? Kyle is like one of the staples of the show because she's been there
she's
from day
the longest running housewife of any franchise.
Is she the Nene Leakes of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
I don't know if she gives it like Nene though.
No?
No. But she's an OG, and I think the show would be different if she wasn't on.
But like if you cross her, you're out of here.
No, I don't think
Nobody
she
has that kind of power.
No, nobody has that kind of power.
So you're not concerned or afraid of any of these girls?
No. No, I mean, because look, it is an ensemble, right? Yeah. And so everybody has a role to play.
Yeah.
Now, I think if you're not bringing anything, then that's when you're in danger of not having a job.
Yeah.
But as long as you're sharing your life and contributing to the conversation, I think you should be fine.
But when you look at, so I used to be on Love and Hip Hop. Obviously, there were people who were living out of garbage bags talking about jumping off of private jets. And I was like, you know you didn't. You literally just walked up here in them flip-flops and put on that good Fashion Nova $6
No, Beverly Hills
dress.
is not that.
It's not.
It is not that, baby. Let me tell you, if you are poor, they're going to show your poor ass on the TV. Oh, yes.
So these people really got it.
They really got it. Okay. They really got it. So even like last year, right, I took the girls on a trip to Tuscany for our cast trip. And like the guy who owns the villa, I said the guy, like my friend, he like that's my friend. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And his villa is legit. It was built in the 1300s. Like it sits on 1,000 acres of vineyard. If we had gone there and it had been trash, they would have showed that. They'd have been like, look at this place Bose took us. Oh my God.
But when you bring all these women in that environment, so what we see and how they show up, that's just really them. They're not being gaslit to be extra. This is all their personality.
No, that is everybody's personality.
Because it's sudden. Is she a sipper?
Wait, what's a sipper mean? Oh, like liquor?
Yeah.
Like alcohol? I think she used to be a sipper.
Because she seems to always have something going on.
Yeah, but I think that was part of the whole issue that she had, you know, and even with like her friendship with Garcelle, I think that's what happened. It's like, I think it was affecting a lot of things. She lost a lot of friends, like personal, real friends, in her life.
Do you trust
she cut
them?
that out. Do I trust anybody? You know?
No. I mean, from a distance.
Yeah, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like you just got to keep your eyes open, I feel like. But people will really show you who they are. And to some degree, I trust people to show me exactly who they are. You know? And then I trust that.
Well, who on the cast would you tell your darkest secrets to?
Nobody.
None?
I wouldn't, no.
No. Okay.
No, that's between me and God.
Okay, Kathy Hilton. So we honored Bose at the Impact Awards because obviously we've been watching you and seeing you move. That's nice. So we honored you, and I was thinking like, who could we get to present to her? And then me and Chanel Ayan from Housewives of Dubai, who was the key. She's funny.
She is hilarious.
She's a mess.
Oh my God! I hope she gets her own show.
She's a good. She needs her own show.
She needs her own show.
Okay, so I call her and I'm like, I want you to present, but I want you to co-present, and I want to have a little fun moment with Kathy Hilton because I know her and Kathy are cool, and you and Kathy are cool. Kathy, first of all, we're in the Beverly Hilton Hotel.
I mean,
presenting.
Her name is on the building.
Kathy was somewhere before that. She had to be sipping somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure.
Kathy was. She came in there
with having a good time.
Good enough that she took the diamonds off her neck and gave them to you.
Me, yes. And she was trying to give them to me when I was getting ready to give my speech.
On the stage.
I don't even know if you saw that.
Yeah, we did.
I was literally like, Kathy, what are you saying? And she was like, I want to get, and I was like, I have to give my speech now. So I was like, okay, you go stand over there. So she's standing over there. I can see her fiddling out of the corner of my eye while I'm trying to concentrate to deliver remarks that were near and dear to my heart. I wanted to, I wanted to say something meaningful to you. Yeah. Like I was so honored in the moment, but I can see her fiddling in the side of my eye.
And I thought her jewelry was falling off. She was taking it off.
She was taking it
to
off.
put it on you.
Correct.
In the middle of a speech.
In the middle of the speech. But I'm not mad at
that.
I'm not mad at it
I am
at all.
not mad.
No. Are you kidding me? Interrupt me at any time if you want to lace me.
Right.
Whatever.
Wait, so I didn't know you guys were that close though, because when we asked her to co-honor, she was like really honored, and she was like, I need to move my schedule around, I need to be there. She really wanted to be there.
She's so sweet. Yeah. No, we've liked each other from the get-go. Mm-hmm. Like she was the one that's like, my very first introduction to anybody, I went to a party at Sutton's house, and in the moment that I met her and I introduced myself, she was like, oh, you're the boss. And I'm like, that's goddamn right.
So what was
we've known each other.
What was the connection though? How did you guys get?
What was the connection? I don't know. I think that sometimes it's just like a, seeing of each other, right? Because I can see her. Like she's silly and she's irreverent and a little bit off center, but I see exactly who she is. She's very smart, very calculating, you know, and she lives in her own world for sure. So there's a lot of things that seem funny to us because she's literally living in a bubble that none of us have lived in before. And so we see her and we're just like, why would she say that? Or why would she do that? That's because like she don't know where you live.
No, there was a few moments during her speech where she was refusing to stay on script.
Oh, absolutely
not. And she
not.
wanted to ad-lib it, but in her own way.
Absolutely.
And
remember when she reminded everybody that like we are in her house?
Yes.
And then she was like, but I can't help you with the parking.
But that was after she told us she didn't want to talk about that.
Right.
So we took it out the script and then she just put it back in the
script.
She put
it back herself.
But this is why I was like, just let Kathy do whatever she wants to do and we'll figure it out.
But see, but I love people like that. I love people who are really authentically themselves. You know, and I don't want to gas you, but it's the reason why I like you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, you show up and there's no pretense. You're not trying to be something else. I'm like, no, just give me what you have. It's okay.
So me and Boz were actually at a party in Beverly Hills, and it was a lot of others in the room. And I gravitate to my people whenever I go somewhere. And I'll be honest with you, I'm learning how to navigate in spaces that don't look like me because one, what we talking about? I ain't shucking and jiving for you. Don't ask me how I feel today if a 14-year-old black boy just got murdered in South Carolina because I'm gonna talk about that. I see Boz. I'm like, let me go in and say hello. Boz looks at the people and I'm giving Boz her flowers and she goes, this is a media titan. I said, oh, I need to text my team that shit. I'm a media titan. But that's how we have to lift each other up.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I thank you for that.
Because also, you know, you gotta let people know who they're talking to.
Yeah.
You know, and who's in the room.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they'll pretend like they're not aware.
But I'll connect it to your speech where you said, thank you for giving me my flowers while I can still smell them. Why are we afraid to give each other our flowers when we can still smell them? Because I'm tired of waiting for the funerals. I'm tired of waiting for the Passovers and all this.
But you know, I feel like this is a big conversation because this is the part of our culture that sometimes makes me mad, you know? Because it's like when we feel like we can't tell somebody how great they are because they just get too big. Head's gonna swell. You know, they're going to feel themselves too much. You know what I mean? Like, we say that in a derogatory way, like, oh, you feeling yourself. It's like, no, help me feel myself.
Right.
Like, so yeah, you walk into the room and I'm sitting there in front of a bunch of people and clearly I'm holding court. But as soon as you enter, I'm like, now you need to face that way because that man right there is somebody you should be paying attention to.
Yeah.
You know, because I want you to feel the bigness of that.
But I love the exchange because we got to big up each other.
Yes.
So they actually know.
Exactly.
Who's in the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also this
and not be afraid to do it.
Yes, but it goes back to the whole united front thing. You know, I don't want anybody to ever pit us against each other or think that they could.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want anybody to pit me against anybody black and feel like, oh, that's something that's acceptable or okay.
Yeah. And for me, I don't want people who don't look like us to think that only one of us are worthy of the opportunity because there's enough for everybody.
Yes.
This is what we created the Impact Awards for.
Yes. And also it is actually the beauty of us. You know, it's like my first boss was Spike Lee and he famously says, you know, we're not one monolithic group because we're not.
Right.
And so it's like, it's not even just that there's enough for all of us. It's that like we're all contributing something different to the pie. And so there shouldn't be like this fighting or this infighting because you and I, it's not like we're contributing the same thing and then there's a big pie and so, oh, just give us a lot. No, I'm contributing something totally different from what you're contributing.
Yeah, it was Kathy Hilton standing there saying, in all the years, I've never seen the room look this beautiful with this beautiful group of people. And I was like, well, there we go.
There we have it.
You know, they have to be exposed to it to see that it is real and possible.
Yes.
And worth investing in.
And diversity has become such a crazy, ugly word or something, but it is the truth of what we're talking about, that like the diversity of our experiences and our languages and our sayings and our habits, like, you know, you can't compare like a black person who's born and raised in LA to the black person who's born and raised in Tennessee.
Or to the black girl from Ghana who's raised in Denver or Colorado.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like,
we're all different.
We're all different and we can all contribute in a way that's meaningful. And that's what I just want us to remember.
Is that why you had to check Andy Cohen?
Now, see, why'd you have to go there? Why do you have to do that?
Andy?
I wasn't checking him really.
Oh, you checked Andy Cohen in a nice. You checked him in a nice Bose way.
Look,
badass Bose. You did.
I like to consider it education.
You put on the right level of lighting. You had the right background. I studied it from top to bottom. The symmetry of the screen you were centered.
Look.
You prepared that video.
You know, actually, can I please tell you a secret though? I really didn't prepare because I was so pissed in the moment.
Yeah.
Because here's the truth of what happened.
For people that don't know.
Okay, let me explain. Let me explain.
Okay.
So we go to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion, right? And there's a lot of action going on. We're sitting in the room for 14 hours. Everybody's tired. My dress weighs 74 pounds. I'm exhausted, okay? Mm-hmm. Lots of things happen that you don't. It's a whole day thing. It's a whole day. And lots of things happen that you don't catch in person because you can't. So even my line of sight to Andy was blocked by Dorit, which is like this plant here. So I'm over here like this, looking at Andy. You know what I mean? And so I don't catch when we're having the conversation about CMOs and their tenure, his confused smirk. Mm-hmm. I don't catch that in the moment. Because if I had caught it in the moment, I would have addressed it. So
right there in real time?
Of course.
On his show?
I mean, is it our show?
I'm gaslighting.
It's our show.
It's your show.
Okay.
It's y'all's show.
Our
it ain't my show.
Collective. Okay, everybody's contributing. But I saw it on TV, and I wrote him, and I was like, "What was that? Why did you do that?" And he's like, "Oh, I wasn't aware of, like the timeline or the tenures of CMOs, so I was confused in a moment." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, now you know. Okay, no problem." So we hung up, and then the next morning, I saw that he responded to somebody on Threads like, "Well, I don't know any CMOs who have had short tenures." And I was like, "Wait, hold on. Did we not we just had this conversation?" I let it go. Uh-huh. So then I was like, "Andy," so I had to text him. I was like, "Now I'm going to have to respond in public because now you're over here on Threads and it's getting likes and all this." I was like, "Now I got to respond to you."
Well, what did he say when you told him you were going to, because at least you gave him the heads up.
I did give him the heads up.
I don't give him a heads up.
Look, I'll give you the heads up now because I want you to be prepared.
Well, what did he say?
He was like, "Well, you have to do what you have to do, but just know that I didn't mean it in a bad way."
Right.
And I was like, "All right, I can understand that."
Andy, we're gay. We know what we doing. Come on now.
Look, if you tell me to my face that you didn't mean it,
you're going to take it on face value.
I'm going to take it on face value. Okay. But I'm also going to correct you.
Yes.
And so that's simply what I was doing.
Yeah. It wasn't. You didn't do anything wrong,
no.
and you weren't nasty.
No,
you cleared
and I wasn't
the air.
Negative. I just wanted to make sure the record was set straight.
You did. You cleared the air, but you also cleared the table because there was no response after that.
He responded. He did. He commented.
No, but it was positive.
Yes.
It wasn't. It wasn't a check-in. It wasn't a.
No. And it couldn't have been.
Yes.
Because I am correct. Again, back to my statement. I am right.
Right.
Almost all of the time.
And so, did you feel like, because it's in the wind that him and Nene fell out and then she's gone and all the things. Did you feel like, well, obviously you didn't fear it, but did you feel like something bad could come of this?
No. Because the thing is that, like, for me, again, this goes back to my whole point. Shout out to the young lady who's just graduated from Spelman.
Yeah.
You should never be afraid to speak your truth.
Right.
And the thing is that, like, again, these are sayings that we kind of casually say and people like take it on and it becomes like social media fodder. I'm like, no, but that's me actually speaking my truth in fearlessness. Mm-hmm. It's like, yes, Andy has a lot of influence. He has a lot of power. Mm-hmm. And if he decided like, oh, she's full of herself and, she thinks too much of herself, who does she think she is coming after me? And he wanted to fire me, he could have.
But I also think it's very telling of him and his respect for you and admiration for setting the record straight by saying, I'm aware now.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
Got it.
But by the way, I love that.
Yeah.
And that makes me even more committed to him and to this platform because I'm like, oh, okay, like, yeah, show me some respect. But and I'm going to show you respect too.
But also show the checking doesn't have to be nasty and reading and all that.
It doesn't. Because again, I am just speaking the truth. I'm saying, hey, look, here is the truth of my experience as a Black executive in these rooms. This is what happens to us, okay? And oh, by the way, let me also turn the spotlight to the hundreds of thousands of Black women who have been displaced out of corporate America. Because don't focus on me. I made a lot of money. I'm very comfortable. But let's talk about these women here, okay? Who are in the middle of their careers, who maybe don't have the nest egg that I do, and they're displaced. So if you want to talk about me and my short tenure, let's talk about them and their short tenure.
And I love how I was in your comments, because I didn't call you about it, but I do peep over and look in the weeds. I saw all these Black CMO women responding, thanking you, appreciating you championing their voices, because I mean, right now DEI under attack by the Trump administration. I mean, it just everywhere. People are being displaced. Everywhere. Brands are feeling like they could abandon the culture now. Absolutely. That pendulum, don't you think is going to swing back left though at some point?
It will swing back.
And we're going to be right there with buckets of money.
Absolutely, collecting.
Right?
Yes.
And then,
but it's very painful in this situation. Yes. And this is when people lose their homes and lose their confidence and turn to other means of coping, and then we lose them altogether.
Or lose their lives, because when you have something, it is. I was just talking to my team, being a Black-owned business, I was saying right before you got here, I said, I wish you could see what we go through behind the scenes. Because I show up and I put it on and I do the thing.
Yes.
But it's a fight out here.
It's a fight. And you get on those calls.
Yeah.
And people say crazy things to you.
Crazy.
And then you're like, but you giving them all this money.
Yeah.
Why are you not giving us, just give me a fifth of it.
Yes.
Would change the trajectory of this whole thing.
Right.
Because it's a great set.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful.
Even these flowers cost money.
Let me tell you, the flowers cost money. This is real?
These are real. All the flowers, look over there, all these flowers are real.
He got money.
Wow, we try, we tell you. So you still have your husband's last name, but you got another man.
I do.
And y'all about to get married. So
this is a challenge.
Saint John is your former husband's name who passed away.
Yes.
Sorry about that. And now you're in a relationship with
to get married.
That you're going to get married. So are you going to be Bozoma Afiba? What did we say? Mamachi Saint John. New name?
See, now you could have put Arthur in there because that was my maiden name.
Well, I see Arthur right here in parentheses, but it's so many names up here. Boz, I didn't know where it went.
It could be 16 names. Or I could be a one-name wonder. That's what I've been trying to battle with. I could just be Boz.
Beyonce, Boz.
You heard it here first.
Wait, so Arthur,
Arthur's my father's last name.
Do you still use that name?
I don't.
Okay. But would you drop St. John for the new husband last name?
That is what I'm contemplating, because I've been known as St. John since I was 26 years old.
Right.
It's what I built my career on. It's how people know me. So it's a very hard name to let go of. And also because I have my daughter who shares my name. So it's a challenge,
Do you include your new man in that decision?
Oh, yeah.
Or you
for sure.
Talk?
Oh,
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And,
we talk about it.
And so...
But he's a Renaissance man,
What does that mean?
He's just very open to anything. Okay. He's just like, okay, take it or don't take it. Like, be a one-name wonder. Like, whatever makes you comfortable. So I love that.
Okay. And so how did you find him?
Ooh, through
or
a
how
friend.
Did he find you? Really?
Yes. It was beautiful. So I'm a collector, an art collector.
Okay.
Harmonia Rosales is this amazing Afro-Cuban artist.
Okay.
She's famous because she would take like the old masters' work, like The Birth of Venus or Michelangelo, the picture between God and Adam. Have you seen this one? In any case, she recreates them using the African orishas because, the Greeks and Romans all came and took our mythology and then like just changed some names around and then made it theirs. So anyway, she made The Birth of Venus, The Birth of Oshun. And when I was building my company, Eve by Boz, I wanted to find images of a Black Eve. There were none, but I came across her artwork. And so I went to a show of hers at Spelman and, came friendly, started ingratiating myself into her world. And her husband is her manager. And I just fell in love with her artwork. And so I wanted to commission a piece. And they were like, look, the wait list is like 4 years long. I was like, well, shit, any way I could move up on the list? So they invited me to their home where they were doing a unveiling of new work. And she has a bunch of collectors. I mean, like LeBron is a collector. Beyonce's a collector. So Miss Tina was there in the room.
And she was trying to get him?
Yes.
Wait, so you were about to fight Miss Tina at this art party?
Now that's going to be the headline. I was not trying to fight Miss Tina. Miss Tina is
Can I just tell you, Boz, I'm going to tell you right now, if I would have saw a clip of you at a party, rolling around on the ground, fighting Tina Knowles over a man, I would have lived for that.
Man, can you imagine? First of all, I would never.
Now for some Jay-Z tickets, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Look.
We're gonna talk about you, Jay-Z, with that late ass show the other night
what?
that she went to.
No, but to set the record straight, Jason.
Yes.
I was not tussling with Miss Tina. Okay.
Did you elbow her?
I did not elbow her. Because
you could still elbow Tina.
I didn't elbow her. No.
Get that gumbo out.
You know what's so funny though? She was a little spicy though because she was just coming out of her divorce.
Yeah.
And so when Reese, who is Keely's nephew, said, hey, like my uncle has seen a picture of you and he wants to know if you're single. And I was like, I don't date uncles. Like, you see all this? Like, I don't do that. And then that's when Miss Tina was like, well, I do. So, you got some. And I was like, wait, hold on now, ma'am. Like, just
let me get the right of first right of refusal.
You know what I'm saying? So then I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, no, hook me up.
Okay.
And so she was like, okay, no. But she's met him and she loves him.
Boz, I still have this visual of you and Tina fighting though.
Please, nobody take that to be serious. I did not fight Miss Tina, please.
No, I love Miss Tina, but she's spicy. She's from Houston.
Oh, I love Miss Tina. She is spicy.
But I didn't know she was as, like, I'm starting to learn, because, at first that's Beyonce mama. And then as I start seeing her around, it's like, she's a black woman who walks in the room and commands respect for being a black woman.
Not for being her.
Just not for being Beyonce's mom.
Nope.
She has her own name, her own thing. And I just have watched her from afar like, yo, she's badass.
Yeah, no, that woman is. And I've known her a long time because I met her way back when.
Really?
Yeah. When I worked with Spike, I was his assistant. And that was, 2002 was the year when, he was trying to pitch Pepsi, actually.
But is that how you worked with Beyonce on the Super Bowl? Or?
Yeah, years later. Okay. Because it started there, though. Okay. Because, she was trying to come out of Destiny's Child. And she did this an MTV movie called Carmen the Hip Opera.
I remember.
And Spike was trying to find, a lead for a commercial that he was going to pitch to Pepsi, and he was asking everybody in the office, what do you think? Who should we get? And they were looking at the Billboard list and stuff like that. And I was like, well, I just saw Beyonce Knowles on Carmen the Hip Hopper on MTV. And people were like, snickering and all this and that.
About Beyonce?
Let's remember.
Beyonce?
But remember, at the time, though, this is 23 years ago.
Okay.
She was coming out of Destiny's Child.
Okay.
She wanted to be an actress.
Okay.
There was an article in The Source that said that Ashanti was going to clear her. You remember that?
No.
That was a whole dialogue at the time because, of course, they still got to compare everybody. And they were like, she's never going to be anything.
Right.
And so when I said it, people were like, oh, that's crazy. Yeah. Why would you even suggest that?
And then now. Yeah. Wait, so you were around when Beyonce did the press conference at the NFL press conference and she sang a cappella because they tried to see the mic wasn't working at the thing.
Oof. Oh my God. We need another hour for that story. Because
I
was right in the middle of all of that.
Right, I know.
Because the negotiation of that NFL deal, that was all in my time as the head of marketing or the head of music entertainment marketing at Pepsi.
So when they say Beyonce's going to go out there and sing a cappella, you weren't nervous.
Oh, what? I was throwing up in the back.
You were?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's a bigger story than that.
That voice would have cracked.
Well, look, because here's the setup that people do not remember, is that she had just sung at Barack Obama's inauguration with a backing track.
I remember.
And people were like, oh, she can't sing.
That's what I'm saying. And then,
exactly. And then we were in a fight with the NFL because they were like, no, we can't have a black woman perform on this stage. So again, you think that they don't say these things out loud to us in the room. They say it out loud to us. They were like, no, we already had Janet Jackson. And that was 10 years ago. And she had a wardrobe malfunction. We're not going to have another scantily clad black woman out here.
Is that how they were talking?
Yes.
About Beyonce?
About every black woman.
Wow.
To me, as I was sitting in the room in my cute little suit. And they were looking me up and down like, titty gonna pop out any moment? Yeah. And so so we've been in an active fight about her being the Super Bowl halftime show performer. And then she goes and sings for the inauguration. So you can imagine the emails that were flying.
Yeah.
So we get to the press conference and I'm sitting, I'm sick.
But did you know she was gonna go sing a cappella?
I knew in the moments right before. Because she gets a certain look, and she had the look, and she walked in and she asked everybody to stand. And so I was just like, God damn it, where's my purse? I am fired today, And so she asked everybody to stand, and she clears her throat, and then starts singing, and then walks off.
And that was it?
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
But you know what's so crazy about that whole story though is that even at Beyonce's level, you're being questioned.
This is what
doubted,
I'm trying to say.
Minimized, put in a box, disrespected.
This is what I'm trying to say.
So what am I gonna do?
This is what I'm trying to say. Is it like we have to continuously like stand up, actively fight, actively like put ourselves in these positions in which people are constantly disrespecting. You know, it's like that James Baldwin speech, which I'm gonna mess up, but you know, he's like, to be black in this country and be semi-conscious, I think he said, is like to be in a constant state of rage.
I'm rageful right now.
I'm rageful.
Yeah, but that's a real
with my
thing.
diamonds on.
Yeah, that was crazy. But it's refreshing to hear him say it, you say it, me living it, us living it, because you know sometimes when we're going through our own experiences, we feel like we're the only one going through it. The only one,
I know. It's true. It's true. But even that in and of itself causes rage because I'm like, but why are we still going through it though? Mm-hmm. Like, why are we still battling this? Why is it that we're still having the conversation about whether or not the pendulum is going to swing back? We're going to be standing here with our buckets ready to collect the money. You know, it's like, why can't we just be in peace? Why can't we just do the work and do it well? Why can't I walk into the room knowing that I'm the greatest to ever do it and still receive my flowers in the moment instead of somebody trying to bury them and saying I don't deserve them? Why? Why isn't there a statue dedicated to me right now outside?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Like there is no other marketer who is more decorated than I am. Why don't I have a statue?
Right.
I have a Harvard case study though.
I'm gonna be doing a lecture at Harvard. So I need notes.
Fantastic.
I already found the outfit that I want to wear too.
That's one of the most important things.
Is it?
Is the outfit.
Yeah, because you
need to walk in and let them know.
Yeah.
From the onset, before you even open your mouth.
So do you still do CMO work for brands now, or is it more consulting?
It's more consulting, and like you know when I want to do it.
Right.
Yeah. If something is like really interesting to me. So there's lots of companies that are always like, oh, would you come do, the new term is fractional CMO. You know, it means that you like come in for like a certain period of time, do a little bit of work and then you're gone. But I only want to do that if it's like really interesting to me.
So you went and did the show On Brand with Jimmy Fallon.
Yes.
And was that to continue to market yourself doing the work to show people how it's done? Or were you really interested in helping other people in the show?
Well, no, because I don't know that the show actually really helps people to do the work, right? They're coming and we're showing the world the work that they're doing. However, I just found it so fascinating because it was just a real life example of like what my life was like all the time. You know, it's like when people found out that like, oh, you know, I work for Netflix, they were like, oh, I have a great movie. Here's a great idea. Let me pitch you real quick. Yeah. No matter where I'm at, you know, or like when I worked for Apple, oh, I have an app idea. I'm like, oh yeah, when I work for Pepsi, you know what the flavor that Pepsi could be? Nutmeg. Have you tried that?
Well, you weren't there when Starry got born, right?
No.
Because they did that wrong.
Okay. See, now
Boz, don't you ever want to call up the Pepsi and say, what is a Starry and what are we doing? Because they're trying to compete with Sprite. They're trying to compete with Sprite.
But that's been a long fight. It's been many years.
Sprite gets the culture though. Coca-Cola gets the culture. Coke Zero gets the culture. No?
No, they do.
They do.
They do.
Why Pepsi don't get it? Instead of hiring Kendall Jenner to run up and down.
See, now why are you going to go all the way back there?
Because you know they did that.
But let me tell you though, to your point,
hire Boz.
I really
bring her back. Bring Boz back. Though. We need to create that moment. Bring Boz back.
No, I'm good where I'm at.
Y'all burnt up Michael Jackson.
Oh hell! Now we're gonna bring
Michael
it back
Jackson
to
is
early
dead
80s.
because
nothing to do with this.
Michael Jackson is dead.
No, don't.
As a result of the addiction to propofol that came from. Wow. Bring Boz back.
I have nothing to say about that.
But how does Coke get it right and Pepsi not get it right?
That's why I think it's so important to understand that marketing is not an overnight sensation. You know,
it's a long-term investment.
Yes, it's layered work that you have to commit to. This is why I get so pissed when brands are like, "Oh, we want to be part of the culture," and then they want to cut you a quick check. I'm like, no, make them a check for 10 years. Like, write the check that will last them a decade.
How do we co-create a forum? For real.
Yes.
To bring the brands, the CMOs, the black CMOs, the us.
Now I'm gonna give it away to the people. But remember when I texted you when I was in Cannes?
Yes.
And I was like, hey,
We don't have to give them everything.
What are we gonna do?
Yes.
Because I see it so clearly.
Yes.
Like I see it so clearly. And I'll be very honest with you. This was the first time that I ever saw it clearly. And that's why I want to act on it.
Was it because you were over there in it and you see all the boat hopping?
I'm removed from it. And so I'm now more objective. I feel more like an elder statesman at Cannes now. This was my 14th year. Like I'm no longer a CMO in the traditional seat. And so like I go to these events, I'm sitting on the panels, I'm doing the things, I'm not in it. So I'm a little bit removed so I can see it much clearer on where like the gaps are and what the opportunities are. That's why I was just like, oh no, Jason, let's get ourselves together.
And I'm going to follow up on that.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like in many ways the culture is in critical condition.
Look.
Right?
And also because it's like the perfect opportunity. So now we talk about the pendulum swinging, right? Now you got me activated. Look at me sitting on the edge of my seat.
Well, that leg went down. She
look,
leaned
that's
into
what
it.
I'm in business right now. No, because like the critical part about pendulum swings, and this is why the people who succeed, is that they see the pendulums begin to move before anybody else does. I can see it moving. And so I'm like, okay,
it's the time.
You got to put yourself in position because if you wait, to have the proof, you'll not only miss it, you'll be with the rest of everybody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because don't think it's just us trying to get the buckets to collect the money. There's lots of white-owned companies that cater to us that are quiet right now who will come swinging.
No, they will. And this. So we're going to talk.
Absolutely.
Okay. Is Kyle Richards really a liar? Because that hot mic, you should have a hot mic all the days of your life following you because we want to know, what does Boz think? What does she think?
What's really going on in my head. Is she a liar?
I mean, that hot mic that caught you saying she was a liar. You remember that?
When I say she was a liar.
Well, let me read it to you.
Yeah, read it back to me.
Because
I've been accused of not remembering the things I say.
So you called Kyle Richards a liar on the record. You said, I think she is a liar. Let me make that correct on why Dorit listens to her more than Kyle. I think part of it is that I'm actively listening. I'm not listening to rebuttal or listening for defense. I'm absorbing what she's saying, a corporate executive applying active listening methodology to a housewife drama. It is extremely funny and extremely effective.
Wow. Well, that's a big quote.
Yeah.
Now, but I still don't, because the liar thing that's a harsh thing to say.
So maybe she just was a...
No, I just think that they cannot hear each other. They don't like each other. You know, and so I'm So I'm like, why don't they just admit that and then move on?
So what, if you could bring back any other housewife, who would you bring back?
Ooh.
Lisa Vanderpump?
Okay, now let's be clear. I don't know any of these people.
You don't?
Okay?
And you haven't met them?
No, I haven't met them.
They don't come to your parties?
No, there's no reason for us to really interact.
Oh, I live for Lisa Vanderpump.
I don't know her like that.
Okay.
But I think she's really interesting.
Okay.
And this is going to be controversial, I'm going to say.
What?
But I would like Garcelle to come back.
I want Garcelle to come back.
I would really like Garcelle to come back.
How do we do that?
I don't know.
Fire Dorit?
No, I think she said that. Who did she say?
Wait, who did she like?
I think she said Erica had to go.
Sutton.
I don't know. Maybe Sutton has to go. Maybe Erica had to go. I think in order for her to come back. But I would hope that wouldn't be the case, because I actually do want to see all of the talkings and the things that have to go on in order to iron things out.
I want to see.
I don't want to see Garcelle activated like that, because I haven't seen it.
I want to see Garcelle fight Erica the way you were going to fight Tina Knowles.
Now, see how you're doing that.
I'm just starting things.
That's you really starting things. I would never see. And now you're gonna have Miss Tina in the comments talking about Boz was gonna fight me.
Miss Tina, she follows Hollywood like she know I'm a mess. Hey,
exactly.
Tina, I love you, girl. Okay, so you want to have a kid, another kid?
Yes, I do.
At 49.
Yes.
And I believe women can have kids whenever they want.
Yeah,
so I'm not one to say they couldn't. I am 48, getting ready to be 49, so we're the same age. And people all the time like, you should have a kid, you should have a kid, you should have a kid. And I'm like, it's too late for me.
Really?
49? Do you think 49?
No, I don't think it's an age thing.
Okay.
I do think it's a attention, desire, space in your life. Yeah. Because like having a kid is not an easy thing. I don't know why people pretend like, oh, let me just do it because I want legacy or it'll be so cute. No, this shit is hard. It's really, really tough. And it's hard to be a single parent.
Right.
Really, really
But you wouldn't be a single parent, but would the age gap would be what? Your other child is what, 20?
17.
You're 17.
Yeah.
So 17 and newborn.
Yes.
You're ready for that. Because
By the way,
starting over again.
She's literally going into senior year of high school. I would be an empty nester or not.
No, you would be a temporary empty nester and then the nest is full again for another 18 years.
Yeah.
And you want that.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't think I did, honestly, until I met Keely, honestly, because he encouraged me.
But is he pressing you? Like,
No,
does he have any
he's
kids?
not. No, he has no kids.
Okay, so this.
And he wanted kids too.
Okay.
So, but for me, it's like just to give it more context, part of the reason why I never tried to have another kid is because I had such traumatic pregnancies. I had two, one which my daughter didn't survive. It was my first pregnancy, my first child, and it was devastating. And then 3 months later, I was pregnant with Lael, and she was born preemie, and it was a traumatic pregnancy, traumatic birth. Like, I was like, I ain't touching that again. So I wanted it, but I was just afraid of it. And then my husband died. And what was I gonna do? I was focused on having a successful career so I could provide for me and my child. Like, I was focused on my career for a decade. And then one day I woke up and I was like, okay, well, I've conquered that. Now what? I wanted to make my personal life feel as good as my professional life.
So then you went through the trauma of losing a husband, and then your house burns down.
Oof, in Malibu, yeah.
And so, but you didn't decide to run for office like Spencer Pratt did.
No.
Do you blame Karen Bass for the house being fired?
No, I don't blame Karen Bass.
Because some people are mad.
Karen.
I love Karen.
Why do people do that?
Because they expect this black woman to be Superman for the whole city.
They expect a black woman to be God, but won't treat her as such.
Sheesh.
If you really think she's that powerful, treat her as such.
Right.
Talk to her nice.
Right.
But we don't respect her like that. So why do you think she's powerful enough to then save your house from burning down?
But then the same like with Kamala Harris and the mediocre man who's in office now, they were going to put Spencer Pratt up as the mayor of LA.
Come on. I can't even begin with that conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so frustrating to me because, again, it's like you are extraordinary at what you do. And then they want to compare you to somebody who is less than mediocre. Let's not even give them the benefit of being mediocre. You are less than. And we're going to try to compare you to the person who's up here.
But isn't that the outrage that we all feel every day?
Every day, the rage.
Because the fact that conversation could even exist.
And anybody could even take it halfway seriously just annoys me to no end. This is why I can't be in public office.
Well,
I would just be enraged all the time.
I'm in it now, and I'm sitting here loving this interview. This is my escaping to the rage. As soon as you're out of here, I'm going back to being a rageful vice mayor of Stockton.
And I love that for you, and I respect that, and I thank you, and Jasmine Crockett, and everybody else who has to manage their rage and still say the things in a way that people could really understand their passion. They don't temper it. Like, you don't do that. Yeah. And I feel like people need to see that.
But don't we all have to be fighting everywhere right now? Fighting in the boardroom, fighting as a black entrepreneur, fighting in politics, fighting at the ballots, fighting at the polls. Is it always going to be a fight? Is there ever going to be a day when the fight is over?
Well, we've been fighting for 400 years, so I don't know. It's a different kind of fight now.
Listen, okay, well, we fought through this interview, but we can't let you get out of here without fighting through some of our games.
It's a game. Oh, no.
It's going down.
Should I be afraid of the games?
Yes.
Ah, damn it.
No.
I'm scared.
No, you'll be fine. All right, so this is one of our games that goes viral here at the Jason Lee Show. It's called Name Drop. It's exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to drop a name or put a face up here, and you're going to just say the first thing that comes to mind. It could be a funny story, it could be shade, it could be all the things, or a combination.
A story?
All right, it can just be the first thing to come to mind.
Okay.
Okay, all right. This first person, Chanel Ayan.
Oh, now she loves to say whatever the hell comes to her mind. I also love her outfits. I remember the first time I saw her, she had on these like tigers on her shoulders, and I was like, now see, you're African. Let's not do that, okay? We're over here representing stereotypes and stuff like that, but she looked fierce.
Yeah. One of my memories of her, went to Fashion Week and she wanted to have caviar. Oh. So, do you like caviar?
I do, actually.
I don't like caviar.
You don't?
On
nuggets? Have you tried it on nuggets?
First of all, the group I was with, including her, were doing caviar bumps.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't know about that.
I lived in Hollywood. Bumps mean something.
Something very different.
I ain't doing no bumps.
No.
But they're doing caviar bumps. They're passing caviar around doing bumps. And then they've bought these $1,000 baked potatoes.
Wow, yeah, exactly.
At Caviar Caspia.
Yes.
No, you like that.
Caviar Caspia, yes. But I do like caviar on nuggets best.
What is a nugget? Like chicken nugget?
Yeah, from McDonald's.
Okay, is that a thing? Because they ordered McDonald's while we were there.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Good. That's a hood version.
That's ghetto.
It's very bougie.
Ghetto and Chanel,
Bougie.
you are ghetto.
I love it.
Bougetto. Okay, this next person. This is Housewives edition, by the way.
Phaedra
Parks.
Oh, Phaedra. I love Phaedra.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like her attitude, her stories. I love the fact that she was married to Apollo because he was fine. But then he was a mess.
A mess.
Yeah, but she's so good.
Apollo's probably the only guy from a reality show I would have wrote in prison, but I didn't know if it would have been returned to sender. Plus, I love Phaedra. I couldn't write her man like that. He was fine, but Apollo was fine.
I got nothing to say. Wow.
And I can't ask you a messy question because you're about to get married, but I mean, like,
what you about to say?
No, I would be like, if you were in the Housewives of Atlanta and one of your co-stars had a fine-ass man.
Would I try to take him?
I mean, is he?
I mean, could I take him?
Could he be taken?
See, now that's the question.
Right.
Because a man can't be taken who didn't want to get took in the first place.
He showed up and got took by boss. I just know Tina somewhere is just swinging at the air. Let me leave Tina Knowles alone. Hey,
Please
Tina.
leave Tina Knowles
Okay,
alone.
this next person, she follows me, but I've never met her.
Who's that?
Teresa.
Oh,
Giudice.
yeah. Good ice.
You know her?
Yes. Well, I've met her.
Okay.
I don't know her.
What's the first thing that come to mind?
Man, that girl started it all. She flipped the tables.
Yeah.
I would never want to get in an argument with her.
She's good.
Yeah.
And she been to prison.
Look, I just would never want to be in a fight. No.
Okay. Do they ever get all of you together from different franchises like Beverly?
BravoCon?
Okay, but
that's when you get to meet people.
BravoCon seems like a big deal.
Oh, it's a big deal. Yeah,
right?
for
and
sure.
Chanel Ayan was the host on the red carpet.
Yes,
she was killing it.
She was fantastic.
She was.
She should do every red carpet.
I think so too. Okay, this next person.
Who is it?
Portia Williams.
Oh, Portia. I love Portia's boobs. I wish I had her breasts.
Really?
Yeah. They're
Why?
good. Because look how they sit.
Yeah, but that I'm sure this dress required lots of tape.
That's fine.
To hold
Give me
things
some
in place.
tape.
She looks great.
She looks fantastic. She's probably going to hate that I'm going to tell this story. But come in a little closer.
What?
So
tell me. You won't tell nobody.
What happened was, now I don't know if we're going to make it on TV, but I went to the Ultimate Girls Trip. They had their last party, okay? It was at Dorinda Medley's house in the Berkshires.
Okay.
It was very fancy. We were all dressed up in
It
gowns.
just sounds rich.
I'm probably not supposed to tell this story.
Okay, well, we won't tell nobody.
Exactly. So Portia, because she was on the Ultimate Girls Trip. So it's the last, party. Everybody's jumping, having a great time. She had on this beautiful dress. She jumped up one good time. The whole thing came down.
Damn,
I saw those things in real life.
Did they cut it out?
Wow. I don't know.
Oh, because it hasn't aired yet?
No, it hasn't aired. So
well, they have to air.
That's what I'm saying. I'm probably not going to say that. But they were nice.
Really?
Oh, man. Beautiful.
That's probably how she got her girlfriend.
Jeez. Gorgeous.
And those are really the real housewives, them two.
Yes.
Okay, this person.
Oh, Marlo. Yes, it's so funny. I posted something about her the other day. It was when I was doing my whole thing with Andy, and people were out here. They were dragging me and they were praising me and all that. And so I put on a pair of her pajamas and said, "Today trained me." I was like, "That's Marlo."
No, you are really good about the TikTok moments. Do you?
Yeah,
do you know how to follow those trends? Because I'm not good at that.
I love the trends.
Do you?
I love the sounds. Yeah, it's cute. It's fun.
Are you gonna do the Netflix one? You have to.
I'm not.
Why?
I was the global CMO. I feel like it's unfair. I have an unfair advantage.
I think it would actually give you all the advantage
I
because I
should
would be
probably
scared
do
as hell.
Netflix documentary on surviving Ted Sarandos.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Ted. I love you, Ted. I love you.
Ted, I want to deal at Netflix, so I didn't say that.
I'm kidding.
But if you take me, you have to take Bose too. Okay.
Shout out to Nicole Yvette.
Okay, this next person. Dorit.
Oh, Dorit. Now, Dorit, let me tell you something about Dorit, okay? Now, that is a woman who is loyal to the soil.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like she's always getting attacked by Erica.
No, not by Erica. They got in a fight this past year.
Right.
And that was a misunderstanding.
Okay.
They shouldn't have gotten in a fight.
Okay.
It was terrible.
But this is your BFF on the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like her a lot.
Why do you like her so much?
Because she's so honest. She's like, she really doesn't really care about what people think of her. And I like that. Like, she's just going to tell you everything. And I feel like that's a rare quality.
Do you think her and Kyle will ever be friends again?
I don't know.
No?
I think it would require both of them to actually be honest about the fact that they don't like each other.
But why won't they do that? It's not hard to say.
Because they both want to seem like the bigger person. They both want to seem like everything's cool.
Is Mauricio gallivant with any other housewife?
No, I don't know whether or not he's gallivanting with any other housewife, but let me tell you something. That man's got some aura.
Does he?
He really does. Like, and I was, okay, so I was challenging Kyle all the time. Like, I don't understand, why don't you just get divorced? Like, I don't understand this, like, makeshift thing y'all got going on. So I was challenging that a little bit. People were mad at me for challenging that. But when I met him, then I was like, oh.
Because they look good together,
they
too.
They do. And they got some chemistry, some energy. I mean, they've been together a long time, so I expect the energy. But you don't expect energy like that from people who've known each other for 30 years.
But is she single now?
Yeah.
Okay, and I know they say he's out there. Maybe he'll find his way home and they can.
I hope he does.
Yeah, because they look good together.
I think they should.
Okay. This next person, Kyle Richards.
Oh, Kyle. Yeah. I think Kyle's cool. I don't know if people think I don't like her. I like her very much.
Was it just because the fans are?
I think because I'm direct and I ask questions of her that are challenging. She don't always like the questions I ask.
Does she get threatened by people like you with confidence, like the U's, the Garcells? Does she get threatened?
No, but I think she has a hard time trusting people. I think she's been around Hollywood a long, long time.
Right.
And so I think she has a hard time trusting what people's intentions are. So once I understood that, then I was like, oh, let me give you your space. It's cool.
She seems like a fun time, though.
Yeah.
All the girls, I mean, everybody seems fun.
Everybody's a good time.
Okay, can I get invited to one of the Housewives parties?
Absolutely.
No, I'm serious. I will come.
Oh my God.
I will come.
Would you come?
Absolutely.
Would you come to my wedding?
Absolutely. If
Guess
I'm
where it's
invited,
gonna be?
Where?
The Beverly Hilton.
Is it really? I'll be there. Maybe Kathy can give me some diamonds.
Oh, yes,
Yo,
to wear.
She was the life of the party at the after party. Did you come to the after party?
Look, I came to the after party for 3.4 seconds.
Why?
And realized how hype everybody was. And I was like, oh, y'all not turning down. You're just turning up more.
We went all night.
No.
And you left?
I did. I had to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next year,
I'm
have
staying.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. Because then also, but Jason, I was also on an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
I mean, I went, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I was over here crying on stage.
You
and stuff.
were good. Your speech was
So
everything.
I had, but I'll come next year because it's going to be so damn good.
What do you think about the gospel of it all?
I loved it, actually.
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love a room that could do both.
Yeah. Because we're going to have a
I
little ratchet.
I like a room like that because that's kind of Christian I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I Lord knows I curse and sometimes I'm not always, on the up and up.
Yeah.
But I love a good gospel. I would cry to some gospel right now.
Anytime we have the Impact Awards and, some profanity on stage, I just look at Yolanda Adams and I just know I'm going to be all right. Because Yolanda, she's been there and
Oh my God.
yeah. Okay, this next person, one of the queen of Housewives, Nene Leakes.
Oh, Nene. I've never met Nene in person.
Ever?
Never, but I would love to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
she belongs in the Mount Rushmore.
Of Housewives?
Of Housewives.
Who else belongs up there with her?
Well, Kyle does, of course,
Okay.
long running. I think Vicky Culbertson from
Orange County.
Who else? I think Portia deserves to be on there.
Portia?
She's given some. Yeah, she's given a lot.
She beat the hell out of Kenya on camera.
I'm telling you. Wow.
Why she drag her
You know
by
what?
her
Kenny
way back?
also deserves.
Kenya?
Can we just give
Teresa?
you're
going to have.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be like 100 people on this
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore. Yeah. I love them.
Okay.
And Bethany Frankel too, by the way.
Next person.
Who's that?
Bethany Frankel.
How did it? Is that not weird? Nobody else is freaked out?
No, so you said the name
that
before I
happen
can
on
go.
purpose? Like, I'm like-
No, you just said the name.
Wow. No, Bethany is an innovator. Like, I don't think talk about somebody who doesn't get their flowers. I know that she's on the outs with everybody.
It's because her damn social media, she's viral every day.
I know, but
Yeah.
she tells the truth
She does.
on what she believes. It's not necessarily the truth,
Yeah.
but it's what she's believing.
Yeah.
And she also paved the way. I think a lot of these housewives who are running businesses are trying to catch her.
Right. Well, she got that skinny girl bad.
Look, that was brilliant.
She killed that.
Some brilliant marketing.
Right.
Like, so I'm like, hats off, Bethany.
Okay. And this next and last one, the boss.
Oh, Kathy. Yeah, this homegirl, she's so rich, she don't care about none of us. And I love it.
If you could just hand out diamonds like that, just because you're moved, she was just
casual.
moved and just
She
gave them to you.
moved. She was just like, oh, your speech touched me. Just here you go. Like, yes. It's like, I could give more speeches.
I was going to say, invite her to give more
You know
speeches.
what I'm saying? I'll give another speech tomorrow.
All right, Kathy, be ready at that wedding. And bring the big one. Look, there goes
Oh, yes.
literally took the chain off her neck. That's crazy.
Hey.
Well, Boz, I love you and I appreciate you. And I appreciate what you do for all of us because it's those, we're starting this new we're creating this new platform called the Silent Giant, because I feel like there's so many people in the boardrooms and behind the scenes who are really fighting the fights for the culture, who are getting no flowers, and we want to start honoring them. I feel like you're one of our silent giants, but now you ain't so silent because you're on the Housewives.
I know.
And you're out here, but I love you and I appreciate you.
Thank you, Jason.
Okay.
This has been great.
All right, so you can invite me to the wedding, but I won't babysit. Give it up for both.